In this ultimate guide to graphic design, I'm going to walk you through the tools, the workflows, and the mindset shifts that are actually completely reshaping our industry. Before we jump to the future, we have to take a snapshot of where you are right now in your graphic design career. So tell me, which one of these options sounds most familiar to you? Option 1. You are a beginner, you're learning the tools, you're binging tutorials, and you finally realize that graphic design goes deeper than a few squiggles on a screen. Option 2. You're a freelancer or part of a design team, you're balancing clients, deadlines, and caffeine levels. Your work looks good, it looks okay, but there's something you know that could be better in your work. Option 3, you're a highly established designer, earning very well, but you feel like the ground is shifting beneath you and things like automation, AI, and new platforms are just creeping in, and you're ready to evolve before the future decides for you. So have you got your answer? Okay, perfect. Because from this point on, I'm going to show you how exactly each of these different paths can be navigated in the world of design in 2026, and how to move from where you are right now to where you actually belong as a designer. Okay, let's start with the tools of graphic design, but we're going to look at it through the lens of where you are as a graphic designer right now. If you're a beginner, stop installing or trying to learn every shiny tool someone on Reddit mentions. Instead, pick 3 core tools. So one for vector-based work, one for imagery and raster work, and one for planning and design concept ideation. Make it your mission to master these 3 tools little by little, but there's no rush, of course. So a solid recommendation could be either Adobe Illustrator, Figma, or Adobe XD when it comes to vector work, and then something like Photopea if you cannot afford Photoshop for raster work, and then Millernote or Notion to start thinking visually before you even open up a canvas. But here's a huge caveat. The important thing is to ask yourself, what sort of work do you mainly deal with? So if you're working mainly on, say, catalog designs, you might want to consider Adobe InDesign as it's geared towards multi-page print document work. The crucial thing here is to refine your toolset down to 3 main workhorses relevant to you, and this means you won't be overloaded with software learning curves in your career as a beginner. But if you are a freelancer or kind of an intermediate position, it isn't just about choosing the tools, it's making those tools work for you in complete harmony in your workflow. At this level, essentially, you should be building a proper workflow stack. So for example, something like Eagle for organizing assets, Fontbase for font management, and Zapier for automating design deliveries or file exports. If you have a logo delivery pack you always send to clients, automate that thing with an export folder structure. That's got to save you at least, 15 minutes every single time. Use AI tools like Kittle or Midjourney for rapid exploration, but importantly, not as a crutch for your workflow. And as a sort of intermediate level designer, the TLDR here is that you've likely already mastered design tools and you can design what you need to do. But now it's time to search for tools that can speed up other areas of your workflow or design career. But for the pros or the truly seasoned designers, it's all about fluidity. At your level, you should be running design systems that really, truly work. So the question becomes, how can your tool stack scale without actually scaling complexity? You should be integrating tools like Notion into your design process, but to the point where it becomes like a hub for you and your client to discuss projects and designs. Consider setting up prompt libraries in ChatGPT to simulate high-level feedback or client tone of voice guides. At the pro level, your tools should be serving your thinking in an effortless kind of way. You can design pretty much with your eyes closed, but you need tools that make things faster and ones that actually deal with the tedious back-end stuff with clients. Keeping clients sweet and interested in your services becomes arguably more important than the design itself, and so seek out tools that do just that for you. For example, SendSpark or Loom lets you record quick personalized video messages, and this is perfect for delivering designs with context, while walking a client through revisions, or adding that extra layer of care that turns a one-time client into a returning one. It's fast, it's clean, and it adds a human touch without taking extra time out of your day. The next stage you need to seriously look at if you are serious about graphic design is design thinking. But what does that actually mean for you? Well, if you're a beginner, you need to stop thinking of yourself as some kind of digital decorator and actually start thinking of yourself as a communicator. Every design choice you make, from type size to margin spacing, should have a reason linked back to your research. And a good way to learn this is to pick, say, 3 designs from brands you admire and then ask yourself, why did they do it this way? Why did they design things like the way they did? For example, this project here by Naris. The chunky, rounded letter forms feel soft and friendly, perfect for a matcha brand that wants to feel approachable and fun. The character adds charm and memorability, but it's balanced by a stripped-back submark for more minimal contexts. Every element serves a role, and nothing here is just to look cool. But if you properly deconstruct the design thinking here, even the colors and the type choices are doing real work. Soft pastel colors and warm creams suggest natural, wholesome ingredients, while the bold blue adds a contrast and some energy. The typography combo feels clean yet characterful, something rooted in the tone of the brand. And that's the point. As a beginner, you need to stop designing by your vibe or your taste and actually consider why design choices are made on any single project. When you train yourself to see how and why every decision was made, you start thinking like a real designer. For freelancers and intermediate positions, you should already understand design thinking in terms of choices relating back to visual language. But your goal is to refine that language into something consistent, something scalable, something client-ready. So think about how colors, how type and imagery carry across packaging, social platforms, and web without losing clarity or personality. Study how brands like this keep their tone unified across multiple different touchpoints, no matter where it's seen. And that's what separates a good-looking design from a professional one. It's the cohesion, the usability, the strategic intent. A beginner might be happy with a standalone design, and that could be a win for them, of course. But at the higher up skill level, you need to actually be mindful of how the design exists in the real-world situation and how it fits into an ecosystem. For pros, the focus is precision and system design. You've already built strong visuals through design thinking, but now it's about building processes that support consistent, high-quality work across different contexts. This means creating flexible design systems that adapt to real client needs. Your tools should streamline your workflow and leave more space for critical thinking. That might look like using Notion to manage design documentation, or structuring your Figma files for faster onboarding and updates. It's about designing in a way that supports both creativity and clarity, and at this level, efficiency and depth go hand in hand. The TLDR here is that a beginner is just getting to grips with how every design choice should lead back to the brief and the design's message, but the upper 2 levels already have that nailed down. So it's more about executing that thinking in more streamlined and functional ways. Beginners are learning how to make the right choices. Intermediates are learning how to make the right choices across multiple designs in cohesion and context, and the upper level designers are figuring out how to make their design thinking more streamlined and more efficient. And if you are a super beginner, I suggest learning the graphic design principles, so like balance, contrast, and so on, and then try identifying them in existing projects or designs. Ask yourself why they work on that design. Do this alongside learning the software, of course. I used to waste so much time trying to find the right typeface and the right fonts for my projects. Instinctively, the logic would say to reach for a font manager, and that's when I found FontBase. It is a fast, free font manager built specifically for designers, and it has completely streamlined my workflow. Whether you have 50 fonts or 50,000, the interface stays clean and smooth, and it runs on Mac, Windows, and Linux. One of my favorite features is the font playground. Now with this, you can test font pairings, adjust the headings and the line spacing, and even see how your layout might look in the real world. There is also font pinning, which lets you keep one font fixed at the top while you scroll and compare other fonts. And if you work with variable fonts, Font Base lets you tweak and preview all of those custom settings very, very easily. And yes, Google fonts are built right into this thing, so you can activate them with a single click. But if you do go for the paid version, which is called Font Base Awesome, you will unlock something called Super Search. It is not just a tag system. Font Base actually analyzes the contrast, the weight, and the proportions of your fonts and shows them on a visual chart. It lets you filter and discover fonts in a way that feels just intuitive and fast. There is also auto activation for Adobe apps, and that means when you open a file, missing fonts get activated instantly. I know how much of a headache that can be. And you can try all the premium features for free for 3 months using my code Satori. Just visit the link in the description box below and check it out for yourself. So AI isn't optional anymore. It's here, it's baked into most of the tools you use already, but how you use it is what matters. If you are a beginner, don't even consider or think about using AI to make kind of designs or art, because that isn't where the value lies. Instead, use things like ChatGPT or Claude to train your creative thinking and your processes. Ask it to critique your layout, or better yet, ask it to write fake briefs for fake clients, like a beauty brand for Gen Z in Dubai as an example, and then use those as your practice drills. That's how you build your creative muscle without waiting on real projects as a beginner. Avoid AI image generators for now because they'll make your work look generic and they'll blur the line between your ideas and someone else's. You want to see your weaknesses so you can fix and work on them. And if you are a freelancer or in-house intermediate, your time is split between doing the work and keeping everything moving, so to speak. And this is where AI can give you hours back without compromising your craft. So say you've got a half-finished design layout. Plug it into ChatGPT with a description of the brief and ask for 5 new ways to structure it based on hierarchy or emotion. You can use Midjourney to build mood boards and then translate that into your own visual language. You can even build mini GPTs trained on specific industries. So like having a section dedicated to fashion visual language and then use that to generate consistent tone guides, page structure suggestions, or tagline options tailored to each client in that niche. If you are a pro, you've probably used AI to some sort of degree or length. But actually now it's time to build these AI tools into your workflows to aid and support your thinking, your experience, and your skills that you already have. Start by using Claude or ChatGPT to break down your past projects into clean case study outlines. This makes updating your portfolio faster and way more strategic. You can also build prompt templates based on how you already work. So if you do brand strategy, write down a series of prompts that help you generate naming ideas, tone of voice direction, or mood board descriptions, and then refine those over time. Save and organize them and keep a bank of prompts that actually match your process. When you're building decks or proposals, have AI assist with the slide outlines or writing support copy. And of course, don't use anything as concrete. You need to go in and edit it yourself afterwards. You've already done the thinking. AI just helps you format and communicate it more effectively. The goal here isn't speed for speed's sake. It's about freeing up headspace to stay focused on what really actually matters. Use AI to make the admin side of creativity less noisy so you can keep designing with intent in your workflows. But of course, guys and gals, AI should never be a final outcome or final design solution. That should be obvious to everybody watching this video. So let's talk about portfolios because in 2026, yes, they do still matter. Maybe even more than ever. But for some reason, most designers still treat them like galleries. A portfolio isn't just there to show what you've made, it's actually there to communicate how you think and why someone should trust you to solve their problem. If you're a beginner, ignore the urge to collect shiny things like some pixel-mad magpie. You don't need a dozen pieces. You need 2 or 3 ideas that have been thought through properly. So maybe 1 fake brand or a project you did for a friend, 1 strong concept, 1 clear execution. And my advice is to build a simple 1-pager. Walk people through the brief, even if you wrote it yourself, your references, your layout thinking, your color choices. Tell us what you were trying to communicate and how your design said that. That's 100 times more valuable and more useful than just dropping your designs on Behance or in a kind of a carousel with no explanation. If you're a freelancer or intermediate, your portfolio needs to pull some serious weight. When a potential client lands on it, they're likely asking themselves two questions. Can you solve my problem, and can I trust you to handle it? So, show the work, but also show the outcome. If you redesigned a logo, what changed and why on that logo? Even basic stats will help here, so screenshots of positive client feedback, a clean before and after frame, or quick breakdowns of your decision making. Those things build serious confidence. The work alone isn't really the proof as much as your thinking and your idea behind it is the proof. If you are a pro, your work already speaks for itself. What you need now is a portfolio that speaks for your positioning. So focus on building a handful of sharp, well-structured case studies. Show the project, but also show what changed because of it. Maybe product growth, clearer UX, improved engagement, stronger brand recognition, and so on. Write clearly about your role in the project. Document your thought processes and the decisions that led to the results. Use screenshots, mock-ups, and context to frame the story here. The goal is clarity, so make it easy for someone to understand how you think, what kind of problems you solve, and where your strengths are most useful. At this level, you should be awesome at marketing and leveraging your skills and your experience online. You should be rejecting clients because you don't have enough time to take everybody on, not the other way around. Let's talk about your design workflow from day to day and how to maintain that without losing your edge or your mind or just burning out. If you are a beginner, it's really easy to confuse chaos with clarity. You might be someone who starts multiple different projects, has 12 tabs open, no name file system, and every idea feels like the best one you've ever had until, well, it doesn't. And my advice is to start building structure right now. Give yourself a simple routine, so start every project with a mini brief, even if it's a fake one. Write down the goal, the audience, the tone. Keep a folder system that actually makes some sense to you. Things like exploration, progress, final design, and so on. And some solid advice is to save different versions and always back everything up. It sounds basic, I know, but this stuff saves you hours later and it makes you look like someone who respects their own work. It's important to note that if you are a beginner, you should have the thirst and the passion for graphic design. So getting burnt out at this stage is pretty unlikely. However, you should have a structure for peace of mind in place. So if you are a freelancer or part of a small team, you've probably got a decent workflow already, but you might be holding it together with some duct tape. You're maybe using 4 platforms when one system could handle the same thing. And the real game changer here is removing decisions you don't need to make twice. So build your own project starter files. Create a checklist for projects. Use Notion or Trello to track status, feedback, and deadlines in one place. Anything that reduces stress between you and the actual work is worth investing time in. And if you're a pro, your focus should be on tightening the gaps. So ask yourself, where are you still doing things manually that could be handled by a system? So keep your files, your layers, your naming so very clear that someone else could pick it up mid-project without needing a walkthrough. Because the truth is, burnout doesn't always come from overwork. Sometimes it just comes from mental clutter. Too many tabs open, too many small decisions, stealing your focus, that kind of thing. And your system should protect your energy, so your creative attention is on the brief, the message, and the output. And this is where pros start separating themselves by working with less drag. I also suggest keeping a diary just related to your work and your mindset. And when you need to improve, you can see how you were a few months, a few weeks, a few days ago. And when you are designing at this level, stress and mental health issues can creep in silently. So keeping a diary is like a mirror for you to peek into your mind and see what's actually going on there. If things are getting too tough, organize a break and perhaps talk to someone who will actually understand you. But if you didn't get your full graphic design content with today's video, just click another video on screen. But until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.